Okay. Hi, everybody. It's me, Rudy Herrera, again with College Planning Experts. Today we have mover and shaker of the future, Scott Watson, and he's going to share a little bit about his journey and his story and why he chose the major he chose, what it takes to get out of high school and get good grades and get accepted, and the value that we provided for him and a bunch of other stuff. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised here in Santa Clarita all my life. Went to Mountain View Elementary, and I was supposed to actually go to Rio Norte and Valencia, but both my parents had actually gone to Arroyo Seco and to Saugus High School, so we applied for that transfer, try to keep it in the family. And now here I am 18 years later, and I'm leaving for UC San Diego in a couple of weeks now, about 3 weeks.
So tell us about your picking colleges, how many colleges you got accepted to.
Well, I decided to apply to 10 colleges, and that's something really quick that college planning experts helped me with right away, because kind of growing up, I'd been a smarter kid. I was in special programs at school, and I had been told how smart I was, how great I was, and so kind of provided like an echo chamber for me. So I thought I was a shoo-in for all of these these great schools. And if it hadn't been for college planning experts saying, you need to kind of, be realistic and be smart about it, apply to some safe schools, some core schools, and some reach schools, chances are I probably would have applied to only about 3 or 5 colleges, and, those are some of the most preeminent universities in the country, and chances are I wouldn't have gotten into them. So kind of right away, college planning experts grounded me and provided me with the core foundation to kind of realize where my abilities can take me. And one of the 6 colleges that I got into, I applied to 10, was UC San Diego, and I decided to go there to major in political science.
And what other schools were you accepted to?
I was accepted into American University out of Washington, D.C., University of San Francisco, 2 other UCs, UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara, as well as Boston University.
So these schools that you didn't choose, and you chose San Diego over Boston University and American University. I'm not sure if Scott said that he wants to be a politician, a lawyer, and those schools that you got accepted are some great schools.
Mm-hmm.
Boston University.
Oh yeah.
American University. A lot of people don't know American University. They just hear the rah-rah schools,
Yeah.
USC and UCLA. What made you choose UC San Diego?
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into it, financials and location, stuff like that. My mom really wanted me to stay on the West Coast and kind of stay close to home, and I really wanted to get away and kind of be independent. So I was leaning towards schools like American and Boston University. But I think I found a happy medium being about 4 or 5 hours away from home, right on the water, great weather year-round. And a lot of things for me are, let's look at the numbers, let's look at the financials of it. And I think it was Money Magazine that just came out with it a couple days ago that, financially wise, UC San Diego is the second best school in the nation to go to, because, you get the cost of a public university, which is relatively cheap compared to some private universities. But then, the average starting salary for somebody that exits UC San Diego and starts a career is about $58,000, and that's just starting. So you can easily, get your money and pay off your loans and be successful in anything that you want to do.
So that is not really your end goal, right?
No.
What is it that you're aspiring to do?
Well, like I said, my major is in political science and public policy. I'm going to the Eleanor Roosevelt College. Eleanor Roosevelt's a great stateswoman and an inspiration for so many Americans. Being first lady and then the first ambassador to the United Nations. And kind of my experiences in high school kind of drove me towards political science and public policy, because, especially in this political climate, everybody's trying to get involved and everybody's trying to be an active participant. And I see a lot of that for personal gain almost. This breed of social media politics where people on both the left and the right kind of want to get involved for their own personal glory. Well, let's say I went to this protest and I want to post a picture of it and get more likes, or I, destroyed somebody in a debate. I want to make sure everybody knows about it so I can get more attention for myself. And that kind of, culminated in, I want to say, sophomore year, when we were doing a presentation in English class about, what kind of direction we want to go for our career. And there was me and another kid in the class that kind of chose the same vocation. He did his presentation about being a governor, and I did mine about being a member of the president's cabinet. And he kind of concluded his presentation with a very direct and kind of persuasive thing about, I will be this, I will be elected, you will vote for me, and I will be great, and I will do all these things. And, I was thinking about it, and I mean, very inspiring, but that's not what I view public service as. It's public service. You got to put service above yourself. And so when I went up and I did my presentation a couple days later, I kind of said, I won't stand up here and try to do this for personal glory. My mantra since day one when I wanted to enter politics has been, politics is not about power. Politics is about people. And I plan to keep that sort of saying true to myself in college and beyond, and really be all about service and serving the people. I don't have an end goal about I want to be a senator, I want to be president of the United States. I just want to be in a position, local, state, federal, where I'm in a position to help as many people as I possibly can, where I can improve as many people's lives as I possibly can, and really provide direction for, whatever community I'm leading, whatever constituents I have.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your summer. What did you do? What kind of extracurricular activities did you do?
Well, some of my past summers I've spent, traveling and doing stuff like that. I went to Ecuador in 2016, and I really kind of wanted to stay home for this summer. And a couple months ago, I had an internship with our local congressman's office, Steve Knight, and that kind of led to a position in his campaign. The midterm elections are coming up. And so I worked as a campaign worker over the summer for his campaign office, going door to door and doing a lot of the grunt work, but also handling some stuff with the higher ups. And that was a really rewarding experience, learning hands-on what it takes to run a campaign. And that ended, I want to say, about July 28th. And then immediately afterwards, I want to say like the same day, my managers at the campaign recommended me for a special assignment in Columbus, Ohio. There was a special election in Columbus for Congress, and they kind of admired my work ethic, so they referred me to this company. And the next day I sent in my resume, and then the day after that they hired me, and then 3 days after I heard about the job, they had me on a plane out to Columbus, and I worked there for about a week, about 12 hours a day, just working for the campaign.
Awesome. And Scott was actually highlighted in the SCV magazine, and it's a great write-up. If you guys have a chance to look at it, it's a great write-up. Also, you just got a letter from Steve Knight, congressman here in Santa Cruz Valley, for his hard work and all the great things that he's been doing. Let me ask you this. What is it take for someone like yourself or someone similar, or even all the kids that are maybe watching this, or parents, to actually get to where you're at today?
Well, it definitely takes a very hard work ethic. There's only a certain point that parents can take you. Your parents can set goals for you, but there really comes a time where, your parents kind of have to let you go, and, as a young adult, you have to start setting goals for yourself. What do I want to do? And, that doesn't have to be super lofty. Like, I want to be the best lawyer out there, or just, I have a friend that wants to be a photographer, and so, he's not preoccupied with going to the most highly rated universities. He wants to go to university with a good photography school and work and become a photographer and travel. But the thing is that his parents didn't decide that for him. He decided that for himself, and he knew and he planned and he strategized what his goals were, and then he met them. And so, work really hard, set goals for yourself, and also get involved with your community. Make sure you build connections and you relate with people. Getting connected with others and kind of building a network is so key, just not for recommendations, but for, even entering the workforce after college. So I try to get involved as much as I can, not with just the students at my school at Saugus High School. I did that through various clubs such as National Honor Society, and I was a founding member of the Model United Nations Club. But I also try to get involved with the teachers too and kind of get their perspective. And they help me through with my classes and with my high school experience as well. So I definitely get involved with not only your students but your teachers as well. And then kind of the final tier that you have to aim for is getting involved with your community and meeting community leaders and finding out what can I do. And I was fortunate enough to surround myself with friends that had the same kind of aspirations for service as I did. So there were times where I was volunteering for this specific event, and I said, hey, you guys want to come over and help me out? And they said, yeah, sure. And just friends working together to try to make the community a better place, and different organizations and stuff like that.
So you were involved in ASB, you played football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things that Scott did. I'm not going to go over his whole resume, but there was a lot of things that he did. And what we did is we helped him, we guide you through that,
Mm-hmm.
and we strategically positioned him so he can get these awards and also get accepted at these schools. What's the plans? Where do you think you're going to see yourself in 10 years?
I love the movie Casablanca, and there's a quote in there where it's Humphrey Bogart as Richard Blaine, and he's at the bar, and some woman comes up to him, and she says, Richard, where were you last night? And he said, oh, that's so long ago, I don't remember. And then she says, well, will I see you tonight? And he says, I never make plans that far ahead. And I try to adopt that mantra of Richard Blaine where, I never make plans that far ahead. I certainly have goals for myself, but I don't kind of put that limitation on myself where, like, if I'm not doing this by this year, then I'm a failure. I kind of rely on my hard work and not my dreaming or my daydreaming to try to get me where I'm going. Just put in the work now, and then it'll pay off in the future.
So I see where he's going to be in 10 years, and he's going to be a very successful young man, and he's going to be a leader in the community, or like you said, state, federal, but definitely a leader. Tell me a little bit about your counselor and how she helped you here at College Planning Experts.
Well, I had Irene as a counselor, and Irene was amazing. She went to UC San Diego as well, so that was very cool that I get to go to the same college that she went to. And kind of like Rudy said, I had a lot of things that I was involved with, a lot of different things that I did, academically and socially and leadership-wise. But I kind of didn't really know how to harness that for applying to colleges. And that's really what Irene helped me through, was getting through the application process. I said, I know I played football for 2 years, but what does American University care about that? And she said, when you're applying and you're doing the forms and writing the essays, you can talk about how, you're a very academic kid. You took a lot of AP classes and you were in student leadership. But yet you still played football with some of the people that maybe struggled academically or were kind of socially isolated. You can talk about how you used football as a platform to try to get those kids more involved with their school, improve their academic standing and stuff like that. And she kind of helped me put my experiences into a perspective that I hadn't previously thought of before. And I think that was pretty instrumental in helping me get into some of the schools that I applied to.
So although you didn't pay for the cost of the membership here,
Right.
How do you see the value here?
I'm sure my parents can attest to the financial value with financial aid and all the stuff that you're helping us with currently, with FAFSA. But, kind of having a helping hand to get through this process. Because, you know where you want to go, and you know what colleges you want to get into. But, people like Rudy and Irene, they really help you. You may have a plan, but they put it on a board for you. They lay out every single thing. I would get an email almost every week saying, okay, don't make sure you do this. And, the deadlines were, let's say my application.
I'm sorry, for even today.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? I can't sleep unless
Rudy knows that I got my financial aid stuff done. But, let's say an application isn't due until November. Irene wants you to get all of the essays done for that by August. And I'm like, well, why do I need to do that? It's not due until November. But, I would submit my essays and Irene would go over them and she'd say, well, I'd maybe make a stylistic change here. I'd maybe highlight this facet of your experience more than the other. and it really did improve my applications, and that's invaluable. You only get to apply to a school, basically once, unless you're applying for a transfer. But I mean, once again, the experience is invaluable. The services that they provide are extraordinary.
Great. And last thoughts you could tell the kids there and the parents, any other sound bites or anything, any good advice?
I really do recommend College Planning Experts. So many of my friends kind of went through this admissions process kind of blindly. They might be first generation college students, and that's kind of where I was. My dad went to community college for a couple years, but other than that, we had no real experience. So this is a valuable investment. There's no more valuable thing than the future to invest in. And this is definitely investing for the future, for not only for your kids, but hopefully with the plan that, with the degree that they get and the job that they have, that they'll come back and they'll care for their parents. And I know that's what my parents are relying on.
And just so you folks know out there, this is not edited. It's just whatever comes up, whatever question. Didn't talk to Scott to prep him or anything like that.
I don't have notes on my arm or anything.
He's a very intelligent person, as you can see. Scott, I want to thank you very much for taking your time here with me today and explaining to some of the parents and the kids what they may need some help at, what it takes to get to where you're at, and I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Rudy. Yeah.
And this is one of our future senators, maybe it could be a president, and that'll be awesome. I can't wait to see that happen. I look forward to your future.
Thank you very much,
so
Rudy.
much.
Thank you.
All righty.